Ding ding, seconds out, round 3. Are my blood test results dipping below the safety levels? Is diabetes rearing its ugly head again? Are the chemo side effects getting worse? Am I stopping doing the video diaries on YouTooSpain? What? Come with me through the curtain of blurred colons and find out what's going on in my cancer story. Welcome to the Tumour-tastic video diary number 3. Hi, Skatz here. They know who you are. It's Friday, July the 12th, and this is video diary number 30. After my recovery week filled with Wimbledon excitement and football semi-final action, eek! Yesterday I was back at the hospital having a blood test and a consultation to find out whether I was fit enough to have cycle number 3 of the IV chemo and the tablets. Fit? You're a bleeding slob. Which is great for me. Yes, it was a week of great excitement. There is an argument for saying I should really be avoiding the stresses and tensions of watching world-class sport. But there's a lot of positivity too, and the energy I get from my favourite players and teams doing well and sharing the good feelings with other people is infectious. How about letting me have an holiday in your blood, and that'll show you what infectious is. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to talk a little bit about sport before I get onto the chemo chat, because it's actually become part of being still alive, and it's woven into my story. This week especially. Oh, not sport again. I haven't even got a telly in here. So my favourite tennis player ever, Carlos Alcaraz of Spain, is defending his Wimbledon title, and he's in the semi-final today playing Medvedev, just like last year. The winner will probably be playing Djokovic in the final if he gets through today. Ha! If he gets through. It would be a huge shock if he didn't. And if Alcaraz wins today, that will mean a repeat of last year's final, which was absolutely awesome. That's on this Sunday afternoon, when I'm usually in the very rough part of the chemo side effects. Why don't you stop taking the chemo tablets? Then we'd all be happy. Liz and I were at our friend's villa on Tuesday celebrating their wedding anniversary, and that was followed by Spain playing France in the Euros football semi-final. Semi-final, that's better. A tough game it was as well, but Spain won, of course. So the village was celebrating through into the night, and the 16-year-old Spanish genius of a player, Yamal, scored a tremendous goal. The best one of the whole tournament for me, making him the youngest player ever to score in the Euros. Do you know what? If you spliced his DNA together with that of Alcaraz, what kind of super sportsman would you get? I mean, they're already amazing, individually instinctive, exciting and driven. What a promising future for them and their country's sport. They'll inspire future generations so much. What a great time to be alive. Splicing DNA? That's a good idea. I think it's time to get out my chemistry set. Then on Wednesday, I was driven over to Chris's work at Upsticks, and then I was treated to a barbecue, and we watched England play the Netherlands with his family and some friends. Both teams upped their game, especially England in the first half. They were exciting to watch. At last! It was 1-1 from quite early on with a disputed penalty. And then there were a few more chances to score as well. And then we were forced to watch a very tense and much slower second half until, genius move, England finally brought on some fresh substitutes with only 10 minutes to go. And in the last few minutes of added time, one of the subs set the other one up to win the game. I'm still emotional about it, with a goal that was just instinctive and glorious, and the place went wild. I couldn't quite believe it. Do you mind keeping the noise down out there? I'm trying to stress you out. So this coming Sunday, after the Wimbledon final in the afternoon, it's the perfect football final for me in the evening of Spain versus England. Now, I predicted Spain would go all the way right from their very first game. I did it on this channel, so you can find it. And depending on which version of England decide to show up on the night, it could be a tremendous final. I'm sticking with Spain coming out on top as a prediction. That's what my head is saying. And I'm saying 2-1. My heart wants more goals, though. Which team I'll be supporting, on the other hand, is just tearing me apart. Spain are my favourites to watch by far. They deserve to win, and it's my adopted country. I absolutely love Spain, the country, and the football team. But England is where I was born, and I've had to suffer a life of the men's team trying to win an international competition. And I mean, I was 1 year old when they won in 1966, so I did see it happen, but I only remember it through the continuous repeats and hopes and dreams and songs. If they win, it will be unexpected and thrilling, and I'll be in tears with the rest of the nation. Pawns! So I'm kind of supporting both, which is tricky. The way I'm going to get round it is this. What I really want to see most of all is an exciting game. End to end, side to side, lots of open play, lots of skills and shots on goal, no vicious fouls and no stopping for injuries, no falling over cheating, you idiots, and some world-class goals and saves. I don't ask for much. If it's the best game ever, then I'll celebrate whoever wins, and there will be no shame for either team and country. Either way, Computer's going to be a noisy place to be. In fact, yeah, the whole of the south coast of Spain is, and possibly up the east coast as well. Yeah, amazing. It's going to be a shit match with everyone defending and no goals, and England will lose on penalties again. Just a quick but very important note. England's Lionesses are playing Ireland in a qualifying game for the Women's Football Euros tonight. So don't forget, we already have international champions to support and be proud of. They've got a fantastic record. I like women. Right, let's get on to talking about chemo. Yay. After getting into the rhythm of the first 2 cycles of 21 days, I've had very mixed feelings leading up to cycle number 3. It feels like I'm going past the halfway mark and I can see the finish line. It's a bit like being in the semi-finals. I've coped with the side effects and the rest period felt surprisingly good this time. However, I know it's going to get worse. That's what it does. I seem to be more emotional today. The side effects of the drugs are cumulative and some fear of that is creeping in. It's going to be a battle of the body and mind. Yesterday, my bestie Chris drove me into the hospital as usual. He continues to be such a rock of support. Thank you so much, mate. My blood test appointment was for 8:30 in the morning, so I was out of bed at about 6:40, I think I set my alarm for. It was on 6:35 3 weeks ago. And I thought I'll just edge it a little bit closer because I was waiting for 5 minutes. Anyway, Chris, on the other hand, groggily leapt into action a little later. He was away at the weekend, so he's hardly sleeping and he's playing catch up with work in what's rapidly becoming stifling heat down there near the coast. There are heat warnings up here in the mountains for today and beyond as well. I got up to the appointment early into the other hospital where they do the blood tests, not long after 8 actually, but I was in and out in minutes as usual. They're always very efficient there. And we were at the secret cafe before 8:30 and decided on going into the consultation reception much earlier than the 10:45 appointment time to see if we could beat the crowds. You cheating bastards! And it worked. I think we were there not long after 9:30 and there was no queue at all. We sat in the waiting room and found out that the doctors don't start calling people in until, the burps are back, until 10 o'clock. That's good to know. And we were called in spot on 10:45. Brilliant! You realise you're pushing other people down the queue and making their lives a misery. I think I'm beginning to like you. It was a different doctor again. We're getting used to that now. She could speak some English and I went in for a bit of Spanglish and Chris dived in with Spanish when we needed more fluency on the details. He recorded everything on his phone too, in case her wretched tiredness made us miss anything. The blood tests were good enough for me to carry on with the IV chemo and tablets. As expected, the blood results are heading downwards, but with a slow momentum, so they're still above the bottom end of the acceptable range. We asked about which readings were the most important, and this time actually we were given a different answer to the other 2 times. They are lying to you. It's all about which readings to look at as a gauge for my ability to fight off infection. I was looking at leukocytes before. I think that's what they're called. That's what the previous 2 doctors had circled. But yesterday, the Dirkle? She's a doctor, not a Dirkle. The doctor circled a different one and explained, brain fog again, and she explained why that one was more important. Either way, they're above the lower limit, and she also said there's a bit of leeway below the acceptable limit, and they'd play that by ear. I think they'd go down to about, well, it was 1.00, but I think that's times 1,000, so yeah, 1,000. So they play by ear on that one. I guess you need to look at all of the results together rather than just the one to get the complete picture. What's a picture? All I get in here is dark lines. Now my glucose reading is climbing upwards, which, as well as feeding the cancer, is also a problem for my diabetes. Don't want these things to interfere with each other. It was already just above the acceptable range when I started this set of cycles because of the foods I was eating when I was on the first set of treatments with the radiation. But this time it was at 140. Now, bear in mind, for those people in England, we use a different system out here and in America, so don't get panicked by 140, because in England it's something like 7 is the acceptable one. Anyway, I'm going to do something about that. It's not the oncologist's speciality. She suggested I speak to my doctor at my local health centre here in Compiter about it, but that doctor isn't a nutritionist or a diabetes specialist either. And from my experience of GPs, she'd probably put me on some drugs. And those kind of drugs interfere with the chemo. So I'd have to somehow extend the treatment or something. Not more bloody chemo. What are you doing to me? I need sugar. So I think the best solution is for me to control the diabetes as much as I can through my diet, like I was doing before, and stop feeding Freddie in the process. So cut down on the sugary carbs, which I've been treating myself to, stupidly, especially on the rest week, where I sometimes throw caution to the wind. And that's just before I have the blood tests. So the blood tests aren't going to accurately reflect where I am the rest of the time. It's going to affect the readings. So anyway, I'll focus on getting the best nutrition to build up my immune system while keeping the carbs down. Some of the things I've been recommended for bettering my immune system is things like legumbres, which is legumes in English, or beans basically, and they've got quite a lot of carbs in them. Anyway, I'll go for the beans. So, you're trying to blow me out of your arse now, you bastard! She named a few of them in Spanish, and we had fun trying to work out what they were in English. Chris has lived here for too long to know their English names, so we had to use ideas of recipes to work out what they were when the translation app was having problems. I worked out that chickpeas are one of the ones that are good, because I said, is it the ones that are in hummus? So I'm going to have some of that, and I've put hummus on the shopping list as well. It turns out that having beans in combination with chicken is really good. Something to do with the chemical reaction when those two are eaten together. That's great for the immune system. I'm sure Liz will do some reading about that and come up with some other ideas and combinations too. Any suggestions from you lovely watchers would be most appreciated. Thank you so much. No beans! Now for some big news about the video diaries. You might remember I set up a Skatz YouTube channel a little while back so that I could keep the diaries separate from the moving to Spain videos and the live shows on there. Not all of the people on YouTooSpain want to know about chemo, that's understandable. And the algorithms were getting a bit confused about which viewers wanted to watch the YouTooSpain for different reasons because of the recent focus on health for part of the week. So it was a good idea to set up a new channel, but sadly it got banned because I had a changeover period where I was publishing the same video diaries on both channels at once, and that's a big no-no for YouTube. I loved it when you got banned. You deserved it. So lesson learned. This time I've set up a new channel called Still Alive, and there's going to be no changeover period.
So after this video, number 30, I'll start posting the video diaries on Still Alive and not on YouTooSpain's YouTube. I'll keep the numbering system going to make it easier, so it'll follow on with diary number 31 next week. I've already posted on Facebook about it and been mentioning it on YouTooSpain Live. I'll keep doing that to remind you. So if you want to stay alive and not die before you die, and carry on following the story right through the treatment and the operation and beyond into a world of celebrating life, find the channel through the link below in the video description and subscribe and click on the bell so you can join me in kicking whatever Freddy you have to kick the arse out of. Does that make sense? Whatever Freddy you want to kick the arse of. That's better.
There's more of me. I'd love to meet them and spread my seed.
Freddy, you see, is becoming a metaphor for anything that drags you down and stops you living and loving and laughing. Already I'm getting jokes and stories on the new Still Alive Facebook page and on Instagram and Threads too. Never done Threads before. Everything is called Still Alive, so join up and follow all of them. You can't miss them. All the links are below. Tell everyone what your Freddy is in the comments and how you want to beat him.
This means war.
And on that note, that's all for this week. Next week, I'll see you on the new channel with a new theme tune and a whole different set of thumbnails, a different style. How exciting. I haven't even designed them yet. Thank you so much for continuing to follow my story, sharing your own stories and sending messages of support. Tune in next Friday for another thrilling episode of Feck Off Freddy,
Toe Rag, Tosspot, Pillock, Numpty.
Keep your fingers and your toes crossed, you lovely people. And as always, raise your drinking receptacle with me. The toast is
Still alive for now.
So, let's do the Still Alive dance.